Okay, I am recording today. We are excited because Jason Stephenson is the teacher in the classroom. Today we're going to be talking about mindfulness during the holidays. Many of us will encounter people that poke us in the eye, to say the least. We'll encounter things that are foods that we don't normally eat, drinks that we don't normally have. So many things to incorporate in mindfulness, and who better than Jason Stephenson, who's the teacher in the house. So I am really excited because, we're all here. I'm not going to go in through my intro that I normally do, because we know that we've been waiting for you. We're glad that you're here. I need for you to share this information of love and truth and mindfulness. And today we have, like I said, Jason Stephenson, who I am just so crazy about. Let me not say crazy about, because that's not a good manifestation. I adore Jason Stephenson, and I know all of you do too. And thank you, Bonnie, for saying that she loves me too. And Barbara saying she's glad to see me too. So I'm coming up there in the ranks, Jason, because really they're here to see you. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about mindfulness for the holidays. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful and honored that Jason Stephenson is here to do just that. Welcome, Jason, to the Lillian McDermott radio show / classroom.
Thank you, Lily. And wow, that is the biggest rap I've ever had, even from you.
Well, it's 6 months.
6 months.
It's 6 months condensed into one, because, and that was, even the people in YouTube didn't get the Facebook, rap, because every day somebody has, when's Jason coming on? Like, I could have done like a miracle, turned water into wine. When's Jason coming on? So Jason, what have you been doing for the last 6 months? We've missed you.
Yeah, it's been pretty busy behind the scenes, Lily, like a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. We're currently working on 2 websites. One is called the Empowered Sleep Formula, which is going to be a course. I've been working on that since April this year. That will be released hopefully in March next year. And also we're working on a royalty-free music site. So that's an exciting project, and that'll be released a little later on. So yeah, there's been a lot of work going on behind the scenes and I'm really excited. I'm excited by the Empowered Sleep Formula. It's the combination of meditation and changing our mindset before sleep. It's a lot of what I do on YouTube, but this is much more in depth, goes much, much deeper into all about sleep, why we don't sleep and the different categories that we can fall into. And yeah, it's just very excited by it. Can't wait to share that I've been working on for so long.
Well, I'm looking forward to learning about this as well, because, as you know, we were discussing earlier that I hadn't had a good night's sleep in a long time. And the first night I slept for really a good 8 hours since I was a little girl was when I was doing the ground therapy, and I was sharing that with you. And there's so many different reasons that we cannot let go. It's like, I heard that the greatest form of prayer is sleeping, because you're actually releasing and letting go. And so with that in mind, there's many reasons why someone can't release and let go. It could be hormonal, it could be environment, it could be EMFs, so many different. So I'm glad that you're researching it and that you're setting forth a solution for many. So thank you so much, Jason, for that.
I'm most welcome. And could I just read out a quote I read yesterday by Deepak Chopra? Okay. And this is perfect for what we're moving into. And he says, the link between holidays and holy days may be fragile in these times, but you can be a unit of peace consciousness starting now. And I just love that piece, because I'm going to be talking about moving into the mindfulness and why mindfulness is good, especially at this time of year, because we all know this time of year, this is the like this can be the best time, but it also can be the most difficult time for so many people, whether that be, it can be the first time that someone's having a Christmas without a loved one, or the first time, uh, and also places us with personalities that we might not get along with, and that we, sometimes are forced to deal with things. And in particular, I think we're forced to deal with our own emotions. And I'd like to, tap in on that. That this is why I'm a big believer and big. I do mindfulness all the time. I do my morning meditations now. I used to do nighttime meditations, you might remember. That's all I did. But now I'm doing morning meditations. I start my day every day with these mindfulness meditation. Yeah. And Lily, can I just explain the difference between the
you
idea
can do
of mindfulness?
anything you want.
Okay, well, I want to kind of get this clear, because sometimes we do mix up the two of mindfulness and meditation. And so mindfulness is an act that we can do and be anywhere. Mindfulness is acceptance of the here and now, without judgment, and with full awareness. It's basically awareness. And you can be mindful washing the dishes. You can be mindful talking to your son. You can be mindful listening. You can be mindful waiting in line at the bank. Just being aware, and aware of our own feelings as well. And the meditation, on the other hand, is like the conscious choice to be still and to be mindful. And that's, might be closing our eyes and beginning to just be still and focusing on our breathing. And the beautiful part about the meditation aspect, it's like the formal practice, as John Kabat-Zinn says, is that when we do this formal practice, and I'm not talking 1 hour every day sitting on the cushion, I'm talking like 5 or 10 minutes. If we can do that, then this mindfulness aspect, this awareness aspect, begins to spill over into all areas of our lives. And we can become more attuned to our feelings and our emotions, and we can begin to sit with them rather than try and escape from them. And we can be aware of them. And this is really crucial, in particular for times like this, when we're going to be triggered, in the holiday season. There's going to be so many more triggers out there, from, the Christmas shopping, doing the Christmas shopping, to sitting around the dinner table, and there's different personalities, and there's going to be people that are going to be pushing buttons. And if we can just begin to become aware of our feelings and sit with them, and rather than like reacting straight away, and because I've been there, I'm speaking from experience here. I know full well what I was like even 5 years ago, when I would be triggered and I would bang, go off, like, so I'm fully aware now. And what do? Breathe. Breathe into those feelings. Feel those feelings without trying to suppress them, especially with extra alcohol or food or whatever it may be.
Yeah, the extra alcohol can act as a a contra, like if you're drinking that alcohol, then you're not going to go through that mindfulness, and it would be mindlessness, because your inhibitions will now be numbed. And so that's not a good combination, especially if there's somebody that you're resenting at the table.
Ooh, I mean, that's the time when, and there's not, I'm going to be clear, there's nothing wrong with having a glass of wine or a beer or whatever you choose.
No, yeah.
Be mindful of how much you're taking. And in particular, if you're sitting around at a table with some personality differences, then I would say it's best that you don't have drink. Because if you reach that threshold, if you go beyond that threshold, then that's danger territory for everyone involved, and it gets messy. I don't know about you, Lily, but I've been to some Christmas dinners where it gets messy, and it's not pleasant to be in for anyone, and it's just destroys everything.
I think it's sad. Yes. Well, yes. I Yes, the answer to that is yes.
Mm,
Um, and there are different personalities in every home. And what I love about what you're saying, because I remember back when we were deciding what this was like 6 months ago, and you know, once in a month or so that okay, how do we tweak this? What do we want to talk about? And the one thing that that stood out, you said in one of your texts that you sent me, you said, going back to basics. Let's go back to basics. Let's talk about mindfulness. You know,
mm,
mindfulness with, you know, for the Christmas, mindfulness about drinking, mindfulness about the relationships that we have with in family issues. So what I wanted to ask you, and
mm,
what I have done, knowing that I would find myself with people in certain situations during the holidays, maybe people that have mistreated you intentionally or maybe unintentionally. And I want to be vague because I don't want to, you know, I don't want somebody to be listening going, oh, is that me? You know, it's like, no, no, not you. It is not you. I'm saying that prior to that encounter, I had to prepare myself spiritually, emotionally, and my body, because even though you may not say it, if you think it, your body will respond to it,
mm,
and people will see it. They will see that change in your body, because the body speaks. The body speaks. And I remember preparing myself for the first encounter with that individual, and I remember sending that person love, peace, joy, and abundance, which is
mm,
what how I close. That's been since the beginning. That
mm,
is how I prepare for forgiveness. That's how I prepare myself. I don't know if that's called mindfulness, but that is the mantra. At first, it may not feel natural because you're dealing with all these emotions. But then it starts coming back to you.
mm,
Love starts coming back to you, and peace and abundance and all these things, because now you're releasing it from your body. And so I remember the first time I saw that individual after a while, and it wasn't me that was keeping myself from the individual, it was the individual that was keeping themselves from me.
mm,
I remember, and I was the one that was harmed. And I remember saying to that person, I love you. And I really meant it. I really
mm,
meant it,
mm.
because love really conquers so many multitudes of things, right? I mean, would you say, I mean, how do
Yeah,
you deal with it? How do you
I'm
prepare
so
yourself?
well that I'm so glad that you hit the word prepare yourself, and because that was one of the points that I wanted to bring up. That
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
because we all know this can be preparation that we can do, weeks before, because
Yeah.
even building up to the, just say with, the Christmas dinner where this particular person's going to be or whatever, even building up to that can create so much angst, and you're building up to that. So the idea of preparing, of reversing that negativity and start to imprint on our subconscious mind exactly what you're saying.
Hmm.
And as you said, it can be hard initially because it just doesn't feel
It's like,
truthful if you're
I
saying,
send you love, peace, joy,
yeah,
you know,
but
yeah.
you keep doing that, and we begin to then feel that we tap into something greater within, something much more powerful than just our bodies and shells, and then we begin to connect. And I wonder, Lily, when you did that, did it help dissolve things when you
For me, it has.
right?
For me, it has. I cannot, you know, not everybody is at that place. They don't understand forgiveness. They don't understand you know, we prepare. I've made 3 turkeys this year. And for someone who doesn't eat a lot of animal products, that's a lot of turkeys. And by the way, I make, Jason, the best turkey that you'll want to eat. If you probably don't
Well,
even, do you even eat turkey in Australia?
it's not a huge thing, but I'm
It's like
sure
a
people
huge
do, but
chicken.
it's not big. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
for Thanksgiving it is, and I had 3 different celebrations for Thanksgiving.
Wow.
we prepare a turkey. We have to make sure it's thawed out, that, we have to make sure we baste it. There's an awareness, there's a mindfulness to preparing food, the meal, everything that we need to prepare, the menu. We need to prepare the list. We need to grocery shop. We prepare for all these things.
Yeah.
But what about preparing for the people are hard to love, that poke you in the eye, that say, that even if you say, I love you, they'll give you attitude. Prepare for whatever comes out as, I am rubber, you're glue. Everything you say bounces off of me, sticks on you. Remember, do you remember that when you were a kid? That was
I think so.
that was a saying. I'm rubber, you're glue. Everything you say bounces off me, sticks on you. That means, here's the deal. Mirror, mirror on the wall. You see in me who you are. So if even after I say I love you, you're not ready to return that love, that's on you. But that's right. What it was doing to me, Jason, by holding on to that, man, he hurt me, that victim mentality, what it did to me, it was hurting my body. I couldn't sleep very well. I was feeling aches and pains throughout my body. When I started releasing that and sending them love and peace and abundance, then I released myself too.
It's actually more about you, isn't it, really? It's more about releasing ourselves and having those, and like what you said, it's about no expectations, about you working on yourself, and then whatever they respond with is perfectly fine. It doesn't matter anymore, and it's just like you've said your piece and you've freed yourself. And so once we free ourselves, we can move on in life and let it go.
Yeah. But that preparation for mindfulness, that preparation to say, okay, I'm going to put myself in this situation and I'm going to be loved, even if I'm rejected. And I'm not talking about someone who's abusive, someone that is, belittling to, that's hurting you physically. I know that there's a lot of emotional pain when somebody hurts you verbally as well. But I'm not talking about addiction or abuse or anything like that. I'm talking about maybe a disagreement. I'm talking about, I just want to be clear that if somebody physically is hurting you, you can love that person from afar.
Absolutely. And even, I would even dare say, even verbally abusing you, that it's not, you don't have to put up with that stuff.
You can say that's right. You can say to the individual, I'd love for you to come to my home, but the moment you cross this line, I will ask you to leave. Please leave. If you can have that honest conversation with an individual, then that's great. But if you can't even have that conversation, you may not be ready to invite that person.
So preparation is key on so many different levels. So many different levels.
So once you prepare, then what? You invite them over, you see them, you're encountering joyous. One of the techniques I do is changing the subject. So if there is a subject that is not, you can set the expectation. Like I say to my guests, especially if they're in politics or sports, we don't do politics, we don't do sports. I don't know if anybody has noticed that we talk life, but we talk about emotional, spirit, mind, and body, right? Responsible living. But if there's a topic that that is going to make your eyes roll to the back of your toes, then it's time to say, this topic is off the table. And if you hear it, this is a new topic I'm going to introduce.
Another way to do this too, Lillian, I heard the late Wayne Dyer say this, and I love that gentleman. He left a beautiful legacy. Yeah. And I know that he was saying he always had problems with his mother-in-law. And she would be just pushing buttons, just saying awful things. And eventually what he ended up doing, he'd say, oh, really? Oh, okay, you might be right. I need to look into that. Mm-hmm. And he said the more he did that, because he used to fire back all the time and say,
sure.
no, that's not right, or that's sure. wrong, or whatever. The more he did that, the more she was taken aback. And eventually they had this beautiful relationship where they bounced off each other. But it was through him just, I guess, pulling his ego into and not saying that he's right all the time, but just saying, you might be right. I'll look into that. Yeah. And leaving it at that. And then it drops their defenses as well, They begin to go, oh, okay, I got my point across.
Yeah. But, the reality is, if you can see the ego in them, they can see the ego in you, because you're seeing in that person who you are. So if somebody says something, I love the point you're making about saying, yeah, I need to look into that. Yeah. And not hooking. And if you cannot hook, that means you're in your essence. The moment you hook, you're in your ego. Being aware that you too are in your ego, upset that the other person is in their ego. Now,
yes. It's not a win. It's a lose-lose, isn't it?
It is a lose. It's so funny because I always say this to my husband, like when I'm in my ego and he's in his ego, my ego hates his ego, right? But my essence adores his essence. And we know that when there is like conflict between the two of us, we're both in our ego, not just one. Because when one person is in their ego, we can walk away.
Yeah.
The one who's in their essence can walk away.
Yeah. And or can be there and not be triggered by it at all. And it's just like, okay, you can just hear them out. Okay.
It takes two egos to argue, right? Instead of two to argue.
So can I just say a bit more about that preparedness as well? That okay, so you are there and you're having the difficult times, and be prepared also in your mind and in advance that you might need to take time out on that day for yourself. And even if that is 2 minutes, that you just politely, if you need to go to the bathroom or just breathe for a while, just so you can, especially if you're wound up and worked up, that you can bring yourself down. And so just be prepared for that. I've got to tell you, there's this one Christmas I was, things were not so much heated, but I could feel it. I could feel tension beginning to rise. Okay. And I thought, okay. And I was with a friend at a particular time, and I just said, do you want to just go for a walk? Like, because I lived across from the beach. Yeah. Let's go for a walk on the beach. So I went for about a half an hour walk on the beach and just grounded myself. Yeah. And smelt the ocean and was out there being in the moment. Not much was said, but it was just so peaceful. And then when I went back, it was like everything was okay. So it was me just removing myself and me calming down. And when I walked back, it was like everything was just changed. And I had changed inside,
That's right. You turn towards your essence.
Mm.
And, when somebody like that, so when somebody is constantly in their ego, having to be right, and you know who they are, and you might be that person, I might be that person, that's like trying to be right about something without even thinking. It could be me, it could be you, it could be anybody, right? But once that other person, or you, let's say you're the one that's in the mindful state of mind, and you start looking at that person and you detach yourself like you're watching a movie, and you start eating popcorn and you start watching the movie, that you don't engage in it. And then all of a sudden you start looking through the person through the eyes of compassion.
Mm.
And you say, what happened to that individual? That this is how they need to be.
Mm. Mm.
And all of a sudden, things do change.
For sure.
And quoting Wayne Dyer, who quoted a lot of people without giving them credit, I'll give Max Planck some credit, But I loved when I heard, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Mm.
And so if you can look at that person, you know that there's a person or more than one person, because sometimes they gang up together, they're like in packs. So what,
Just laughing because it's bringing back some memories.
edit package, essence. Okay. So when you start looking at that individual or people with compassion, something happened to them to hurt them, to make them feel so insecure. Maybe they deep down inside don't feel they're enough. And so going through the scenarios that, like if you were to take that scenario that made you laugh, or the scenarios that have happened in my life, and you go through that and you see yourself feeling compassion for that individual, I wonder if that individual would even matter anymore.
Here's the thing, the one that I'm reflecting on, there was kind of a pack attacking me. However, I was firing up because I was adamant that what I had was valid. The points that I had were valid. And so it was my ego too, as we were talking about, stepping up and saying, no, look, can't you see this? Can't you look on this other side and see this? So I was wanting to be right. They were wanting to be right. And as you said, instead of just drop that away and just begin to say, look deeper. Look deeper. And when we look deeper into who they are, guess what? We're even doing it to ourselves at the time. We're pulling back. Okay, let's just take a moment. Let's see another side. Why do they have to see another side? Why can't I see another side?
It stops with me. And so I'm looking down. I know that there are some questions and I will address them, but there was one that caught my eye because I have to show you. This is so tiny. I have to bring out my little magnifying glass, but I did see a couple of cues, but there was something that caught my eye, and I don't know if it was something. I think it was Kathy who said, I forgive, but I don't forget. So I can prepare for mindfulness. So Kathy, I want to say something, and I want to, not just to you, but to everybody. This was something that I learned, 20 plus years ago. Forgive and forget. So forgiveness is something that is for you, and trust is for the other person. So although you can't forget, how you remember is crucial. So when you are saying, I can forgive, but I can't forget, that's basically saying, I don't have dementia, right? You don't have dementia. So that's okay. You don't need to forget. How you remember is crucial. So if a person has harmed you, somebody broken trust or whatever, you can forgive them depending on the scenario, is whether you let them back into your life, because it takes a lifetime of trust and a moment to break trust. And so that building must start all over again. There's a difference between trust and forgiveness. Jason, would you like to add to any of that?
Yeah, that's a touchy subject, actually. With the forgive and forget, I like what you said there, because sometimes, here's the deal too, that sometimes people say, I forgive, but I don't forget. And what sometimes concerns me is that outwardly they're forgiving, but when they're saying, I don't forget, they're still holding resentment.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think as long as that's, we make that clear. But I like what you said about, that it's how you remember it.
Mm-hmm.
We can still, of course, we learn our lessons, and if that means not being with that person, choosing to be with that person, that's the way it is, and that's perfectly okay. You're looking after yourself, but it is how we remember. And I think if we can I think, forgiveness is an opportunity, a real opportunity to love and to transcend all that has happened. I really believe that.
It's a form of self-love. I want to add to what you're saying. It's a form of self-love, forgiveness. And so instead of forgive and forget, which I believe that combination, forgive and forget, has ruined it, has ruined forgiveness to too many people. I always say forgive and grow.
Yes.
Forgive and grow, not forget, unless you have dementia. And again, I really do believe that some people don't want to deal with certain issues and they want to forget about, that this even happened and they haven't done. And I believe that those are the principles of dementia. Those are the, like that's the first sign that this is like going to happen to you. So it's important to remember. It is important to remember, but how to remember is even more crucial.
Absolutely.
That
forgive and forget. That's almost, well, that's not forgiving either. You're probably not forgiving. That's holding on to, I'm just trying to block it out. Like, okay, let's just block it out.
Yes.
It's a balance there. It's a fine line there.
Yes. It is. And so I want to encourage people that mindfulness and that being prepared is part of that growth process. That's when we are seasoning. There was an example that was used in one of the retreats, marriage couples retreat, is that when you have meat, there's a spice or a condiment that you put in that tenderizes the meat. I don't know. I've never used that, but there's a tenderizer that you put on meat in order to make it softer, I guess. But that is something we need to sprinkle on ourselves, imaginary tenderizer, so that we can prepare our body, the meat in our body, to become tender and look at the other person in a different way. So I don't know. Every time, Jason, that we have a conversation on mindfulness and holidays or anything, it always leads to forgiveness, doesn't it?
It does. Shows you though how important it is and how big it is. And my goodness, if we just, if we never could forgive, I swear to God, like okay, in our own time. I'm not talking about that you have to do it now or anything like that, because I'm not saying that at all. But if we held on to every resentment in our entire life, we would be eaten away from the inside out.
That's disease. That's the start of disease, because those experiences get stored in our chakras.
Cellular level, deep cellular level. Yeah.
So. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay. So is there anything else on your list, Jason? Because I have some things that I wanted to bring up.
Okay. Well, there's a couple of things here I can speak about.
Yep.
First of all is we kind of touched on sleep too. And to prepare for sleep, to make sure that if you've got big days coming up, do your best to get as much sleep as possible. And if that means, doing these sleep meditations that some of you guys know that I do those. And with that includes going to sleep with a bit more of a positive mindset, so you can begin to imprint on that subconscious mind and let go of crap and go to bed on a positive mindset so you can wake up starting afresh and anew each day. Sleep is crucial because you all know what happens when we don't sleep well. It just has this cascading effect in every single part of our life. Irritability, you name it, things just get lethargy, things go wrong. It's huge. So get energized before those big days when you've got
that
coming up.
Love that.
And could I go on and say too that this is another point really. If you haven't already got a meditation app or a wellness app, and there are millions out there, get one. And can I give one a plug?
Lily? Yours. Give yours a
Yeah,
plug.
well, it's not mine, but I'm on this one particular
Uh-huh.
one, but it's
Uh-huh.
called Insight Timer. And I use this myself every single day. I use the timer aspect of it, but it has meditations that only go for 2 and 3 minutes. So, and it's for free. You can get the paid version, but the free version is great. I don't pay. I still got the free version. And so if you need a break from someone, like if you're going through a tension time, take your phone with you, go to the bathroom, sit on the toilet and listen to a meditation and breathe for a few minutes. Or if you need to go to sleep, use sleep meditations on this app.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
any app, just grab an app.
I
Grab
love
one.
that. I love that. And I love your YouTube. I love your YouTube. And you can also find Jason at jasonstephenson.net. You can also, there's the new one, you heard it here today, empoweredsleepformula.com. That's another one for Jason. And then you can find him on YouTube at Life Expansion. We did a show together. That was so much fun
Yes,
too.
we did. Yes.
I need to click it and put it on my station so I can promote it on my station. Also, I want to take a little break here, Jason, to thank my sponsors for everything they do to make sure that the classroom stays open. You know, classes in session every time that we are together, and so I want to thank my sponsors, Liberty Health Share, Keep Me Safe Organic Beauty Products that are safe and chemical free and non-toxic, organic. First Alternative Care, Dr. Stephen Grable, he's integrative, functional, complementary care center in Jacksonville, Florida. The Pharmacy in Merritt Island, Live Longer Medical, who are in India, Atlantic, Florida. Ground Therapy, which I am obsessed with ground therapy. And you too can be an enrolled student. So go to whenyouneedafriend.com because, you know, one of the things that, Jason, we want to talk about is Facebook, right? So Facebook is a form of social media. And of course, I want you to follow me and like me, but there's some people that are deciding to walk away from Facebook. And so you never know when censorship takes over or what. So make sure you become a subscriber at whenyouneedafriend.com. So Jason, do you want to add to the mix here when it comes to Facebook and the holidays? Because a lot of people are like glued to their phones.
Yeah. I'd like to say, well, I'm about to take a Facebook sabbatical. I'm taking 2 weeks off Facebook. I spent a lot of my time on Facebook due to not only my working life, but my personal life as well. And so sometimes it gets consuming, you know, and I'm realizing that I need a break. And for some people, a break will work. I get that. For other people, if you're maybe a very, very heavy user, it can be difficult. And you might not choose that. That's okay. But I know that there has been studies done for people, intermediate Facebook users, where they've taken 2-week break and they've come back so much more refreshed and energized and more open. And so look after yourself there. Facebook's a great thing. It's a great connection thing. I mean, we wouldn't be here right now. So, you know, it's fantastic to connect, but make sure that you stay connected to yourself and grounded.
Yes, so important, Jason. Truer words could not be spoken. I mean, it's one of those things where the friends that we have on Facebook are not as close as the friends we touch, kiss, hug, call. That could never replace. And the people that are lonely in this world, it increases your death rate by 45%. And I don't think that being connected on the internet creates that bond as a hug and a kiss and a phone call. So we need to really stop thinking that we're connected to the world. We really, it's an illusion. It really is an illusion. So reach out to your family and friends this holiday season and tell them you love them, call them, you know, tell them why they're so special in your life. And because even the people that poke you in the eye have taught you how not to come across that way, unless you come across that way and don't even know it. So, right? So, yeah. So
I will say too that I understand, if there is loneliness and if people haven't got friends, if they've moved or something like that, then Facebook is it is a beautiful way to stay connected as much as they can be, and it can support people through tough times. But ultimately, this internet thing, this whole thing, can be gone tomorrow,
yes.
and then all we're left with is ourselves and our immediate environment, and
Yeah.
it's just always something to remember.
Yes. And that's why it's so nice to have these family gatherings and the holidays. And even though, I mean, I've seen relationships end over an argument on Facebook. Can you imagine?
Oh,
So like, just
yes.
just let it go. Don't even engage. Stop. And I've seen people like, if this hasn't happened with me because I do not engage, but I've seen people say something on their own Facebook and have somebody else attack them and say, that's wrong, that's this, that's that. And then this person attacks this person. And all of a sudden, everybody's witnessing this cat fight. Let's just take it behind closed doors. There's instant message. You can, if you want to discuss it and you want to have a difference of opinion, but an opinion can be argued. Facts cannot. No one can argue 2 + 2 = 4. I can't believe that 4 thinks it's 4. Opinions are opinions. Don't take anything personal. Okay, so Jason, you have some more things on your list, and I want to make sure that we cover those.
No, I think I can let go of that, and I want to hear what you've got to say.
You don't want to hear what I have to say. Okay, there was one question that I looked down at, and I really want to go through all these questions, but there's so many. And the question is, can trust return someone you have been in a bad situation with, or is it something that will be lost forever? No, nothing is forever. Nothing is forever, right?
Absolutely, and I can speak of experience here. I'm going to tell you now that things have happened in my past, and trust, as Lily says, it can take time to get trust back. I get that, but no way does it have to be gone forever.
Correct.
No way in the world. No, and I'm speaking of pure experience.
Well, and I know we could probably talk about your experience that you have shared with me. I don't know if you've shared this before with others, but and that could be a totally different class setting.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It is so important that two people work together to build that trust. Remember, there's no such thing as a mistake. We make choices, and some of those choices hurt people, and some of these choices empower people. And so when there is what we call a mistake that breaks your trust, that is a growth opportunity to build that relationship. Obviously, something was off in that relationship. Maybe there's something off in that individual. But if that individual truly takes 100% ownership of what they've done, and you can still judge them harshly if you want to, or you can love them through that change.
I stand with you on that. I hear exactly what you're saying there, Lily.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a choice that that we have to be comfortable with. Whatever choice that we make in regards to that. But it's something that both people can work at.
That's right. And if you have someone who's hurt you and they're like narcissistic, if you're living with a narcissist, walk away. That's never going to change. They will never gain your trust because they didn't do anything wrong. They will gaslight you. They will just walk away from narcissism. Plain and simple.
You won't get anywhere. You won't get anywhere with that.
I want to hear what you have to say, Mr. Jason.
No. I mean, just go back to, past stuff again. And it's a very difficult, it's very, very difficult, and nothing will change. And it's so much so that I remember going through a rough patch where it actually was spun back at me, and I thought I was the sick one. Eventually, I began to believe what I was hearing.
Gaslights.
It's very it's not very nice, and it just rips away the total self-esteem and self-worth and everything, and walk away as quick as you can.
That's right.
Or maybe run away as quick as you can.
Run. Don't walk, run.
Run.
Okay.
Run while you can.
Yes. And I am trying to see, okay, I don't see any cues. I see comments. And so, but I did see a comment, Jason, that everybody, like, I'm not just only speaking for myself, how much people appreciate what you do. And I do too. I think it's wonderful. I'm so glad that
Thank you.
that we found each other and that I found you. And it was Karina Pierce who told me about you, and within a short period of time. And when I tell you, obsessed with Jason Stephenson. So I'm grateful for you. And I'm take a moment to read some of these too. But I'm so grateful to all of you teachers' pet in the classroom. So one of the things I have on there that you had mentioned before is drinking. And you and I have had conversations about alcohol and drinking, and especially if you are guarded and you have to be mindful. Once you drink, just know things could happen. So I was telling Jason about my world famous mocktails, and my mocktails are, nobody needs to know you're not drinking because some people feel uncomfortable. And so this is what mineral water.
I was going to say that's Sauvignon Blanc there.
Yeah, exactly. Really Blanc. It's so Blanc you can see right through it. Okay, and then there is, and I don't get paid by these people, but I love the fact that this is pomegranate. It's 100% juice, and watch what happens when you add pomegranate to this. Or you can add a lime, and all of a sudden, you notice I just put a little bit in there. I didn't put a lot. But look what happens when you add this. If you want to put it in a short glass, if you want to put it in a whatever, put a straw in it, you want to look. Sometimes when you don't drink, it makes other people uncomfortable. And they start going, come on, have a drink. No, you need to have a drink. If you have one of these in your hand, it's refreshing and good. Nobody will mess with you. Go ahead, Jason.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm just going to say exactly what you're saying there. I've been through, there's some times where people, if you don't want to drink, they look down at you. And especially, it's really bad in Australia. If you're not drinking, you are actually really, really antisocial. And some people can actually get angry. It really goes the other way. And so sometimes it's almost like you need to take the drink to calm the situation. I mean, that's how bad it can be here in Australia. Is we have this huge drinking culture here that it's almost like it's normal. You know, it's beyond normal. It's like you must drink.
Yes.
So,
and even if you want to do like fizzy water, or if you just want to do water, and this is my friend, I love limes. I don't know what it is about an organic lime that just makes a drink. So it doesn't matter what you're drinking, it's what you drink it in. I have beautiful glasses that you can just put anything in there. I'm not saying you can't have alcohol. I'm not saying that. I'm not judging it at all, because I'll have some wine as well. But what I'm saying here is that if you know this is a stressful situation, drinking alcohol will lower your inhibitions. It will, make you mindless, not mindful. Jason?
And I think there's a point too where, and I've drunk and I like a couple of glasses of wine, but I know when I have a few drinks, I know there's a cutoff point. And if I take that next drink, I know that it's not going to be good for myself or for anyone. And so it's like, pull yourself back. And, and yes, that's hard, especially after you've had a few to drink.
Mhm.
but you'll thank yourself in the morning too.
Yes. Okay.
Seriously.
So there was a question. What do I do at a line? Okay. So I didn't have a lot. I had a business meeting like until like 4:30. I had to really rush to get ready, but I cut this lime and squeeze it and add it to whatever I'm drinking. So although this is whole, I don't just, I cut it up like a cocktail, but this is a mocktail. So I've been doing mocktails for a long, long time, especially in business situations where every marketer is drunk as a skunk and I'm closing the deal. And I'm closing the deal because everybody, nobody knows that I'm not drinking. And I am just like, okay, well, if they had a couple of, okay, well, sign here, 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 and here.
Way to go. Way to go. Love that.
Yeah, so we've got to help ourselves here, but no, just cut it in like what you would do with a drink, an alcoholic drink. And so in a short glass with ice, with water, squeeze a lime in there. Nobody's gonna know if you're drinking vodka or not. you
Mm.
know
Mm.
I just gave my dear friend a card that says, I love you just as much as I love vodka, or yeah, just as much as I love vodka. And then you open it up, please don't make me choose. Please don't make me choose. But, so sometimes diffuse the situation and not apologize for you wanting to be of sound mind. And when you go into a situation, don't think, I don't want to be drunk, or I don't want to be around drunks, or I don't want to be whatever. Just say, I am going to be sober. I'm going to be of sound mind. And I want to be completely ready to whatever comes my way. I'll be ready. Be prepared. I had a situation, Jason. I organize some events during the holidays, and I've been doing this for 37 years. But there was a person who was joining me that's only done it for a couple of years, and they just kept telling me what to do over and over and over and over and over the whole entire time. And I was like, okay, I got it. I got it. I got it. And I tried not to react to it or respond to it. And I thought, okay, this is the second year that they've done this. I need to come up with something for next year. And so what I'm going to say, which is something that was said to me when I was I was part of a retreat, and the person who I went to had never worked with her. And I've got check things off my list. And that other person is more of an eagle. She just flies and just like soars, doesn't need a lot of preparation. I over prepare, right? And so I went to her and I said, this hasn't been done. This hasn't been done. And she basically said to me, I've been doing this for 15 years. I can do it in my sleep. And I just trust the process that everything's going to be done okay, because what you're doing right now is stressing me out. And I love the way she said that to me. I mean, I could have taken her on like, what do you think? Who do you think you are? No, I said, okay. And when we did this first retreat together, I was in awe of how she was able to do what she could do. So it was a great learning lesson for me. And so with this event that I was planning, and they were like one step ahead telling me what to do, and we were about to do it. And I finally said, next year I'm going to say, you are a great leader. I've been doing this for 37 years. What I need for you is to be a follower and trust the process. Sometimes that's what we need to do. Just release the charge, release being in charge, and just allow people to take over without you feeling like it has to be done your way.
Oh, yeah.
Anything you'd like to add, Jason?
That goes across the board in all our walks of life, from business to relationships to every part of our lives. It's like, let go, let go, let go, let go, let go. I know in business it's a pretty strong thing, and me as the boss, the CEO of the company, a lot of times I have to get to a point where I've just got to say, okay, let's just let that go and let's see what happens. Let's see what unfolds. And there's been a few times where I'm going to tell you this, where I've been wanting to change something, what an artist has done or something. I'm thinking, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And I've let it go. I've gone, no, okay, just let go. And guess what? Thank goodness I didn't say anything, because it's worked and it's taken off. And I'm like, wow, like, you've just got to trust. Trust as much as you can.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. A good leader is a wonderful follower.
I love that. Oh my goodness, I love that. I really do. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, so the podcast is almost closing, because I'm seeing that we have 1 minute before we get to wrap up here. But Jason, I know with everything that is within me, and I'm speaking for everybody, and I said this already, how much I appreciate you and how much we appreciate everything that you're doing. Because I remember one of our conversations that we had, how you are a singer. I'm a singer as well. But we're not singing as much as we used to, because now we're using our voice in a different way.
I might add, though, the singing's coming back.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. I haven't touched on that. That's another time.
Oh, okay. So when are you coming back, Jason? Okay, not on the spot. We'll talk about it later afterwards. But I just want to say thank you. Have a happy holiday. And I'm sure that everybody's going to, oh my God, look at all the love and hugs. I don't know if you can see Facebook right now. The conversation's been, thank you.
Thank you.
Did Jason forget that Dharma is the boss? Dharma is the boss. Where's Dharma?
He's down here. Can I show you?
Yes. He is like so cute. Oh, music has started. I can't hear it, Robert. If the music has started, I can't hear it. And so, okay, please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide. Well, you can't even hear the music. Do you hear the music? I don't hear it.
No.
Let me see if I'm going to hear it. If I'm going to hear it. Anyway, please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
We're going to edit that out because we didn't hear the music at all. So sorry, Robert. I know that you're so sweet to do that. We got the disclaimer in. So we'll do another do you think you can do that again, Robert? Can we do that again, Robert? Yes, he's going to do it. So, okay, so let me just give the goodbye. Goodbye. Bye-bye now, Jason. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been a teacher and a student in the classroom. This is our last. Jason's going to take some time off. I'm going to be taking some much needed time off as well. So I want to wish you all the safe and prosperous new year. Jason, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
I just want to say, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be on here again, Lily. It's always lovely to speak with you. And thank you to everyone out there. I really appreciate your support and love. Thank you.
Yes. And I'm looking forward to reading everything after, of course, the podcast. For those of you who are listening to the podcast, you can always join us at facebook.com/Lillian's radio show. And also Jason, go to jasonstephenson.net and follow him there on social media, YouTube, follow us, and let's continue to grow together. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, and Jason Stephenson wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Oh, I love the
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Okay, we'll take that one. That second one was good. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate you. Okay, so there's lots of comments, Jason. I don't know if you want to go afterwards and read them, but
I think I will. I definitely will.
There's lots and lots. So we got the question about Dharma is the boss. Let me see. Some people can fly by the seat of their pants. Each one of us had to be true to ourselves, though. That's right. Everybody does. And we just have to, until these are the growth opportunities that we have in life, is that we think we know what we know, but we don't know what we don't know. And if we just open ourselves to allowing what we don't know, then these moments. But I love the fact that she said that to me, and that stuck with me. And when I saw what she could do, we had never worked together. Now, I don't stress over things like that at all. I trust the process. But obviously, the person I was talking about, I need to be honest and have that conversation with them, right? It's up to me to have that conversation, just like it was for her. And by the way, we are best friends now. So, I mean, it was like, it was a learning experience. So go ahead, Jason.
Yeah. I'm just going to follow up on that, Lily, that sometimes saying these things, it can be uncomfortable initially, but only through that uncomfortableness is the growth. That's usually the major growth spurts, is going through those feelings and feeling that uncomfortableness. But then we usually find out that it was so much easier than what we even ever expected. I've wasted previously so much energy building up to thinking, okay, I've got to say this thing and I've got to say this thing, and it's going to be a very stressful meeting. And then I go in and say it, and it's like the person's like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, that's fine, we can fix that. And I'm like, that's easy, and I've been stressing for months, like literally. Yeah.
Well, isn't Seneca, the philosopher, Stoic, I think I got it right, but he said, we suffer more in our imaginations than we do in reality.
Oh, yes. That's a beauty.
Yes. One of the things we didn't talk about, and I know that you have a heart out, just like I do have an heart out. I didn't know if we wanted to do a meditation, but people can go to your YouTube channel, and also they can go to Life Expansion to do that. And we also have meditations that we've done in the past, that you've done in the past here. But one of the things that was on your list back then when we texted back and forth was giving and receiving. And it's so important that you not just be a giver, but that you also be a receiver. Would you like to add anything to that, Jason?
Definitely. Sometimes the not being the receiver it can really hurt the other person. And so then you're not actually giving, then you're actually taking from the other person. I know that, sometimes I won't mention names or anything here, but I've offered a particular gift, and it's been like, no, I don't want it.
Or I don't like it, or I don't need it, or I don't.
Yeah. And it ends up like it can hurt.
Yeah, it does.
Because especially if you've maybe put some thought into it, and and you really want the person to have it. So it's just as important to receive. They're both as important as each other. Yeah. Receive with gratitude and love.
And honestly, people who don't know how to receive have an unworthy conversation. They're not worthy. They're unworthy. They're unlovable. They're not enough. And the way they compensate is by giving and giving and giving and giving. It's okay to receive. Put yourself in that situation. That same, great leaders are wonderful followers. That's, just great givers are wonderful receivers. I just created
And I will even say, Lily, that even sometimes hearing the comments, that people say, oh, I love your work. Oh, thank you very much. You've given me so much. And even sometimes I have to take a step back and receive that and say, thank you very much. Like I really do mean it. Like, thank you. But sometimes initially when that was happening, it was like, whoa, this is too much. Like, this is too much, just too much. Thank yous and thank yous and thank yous. But now it's like, no, 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 no. This is a beautiful thing. And these people mean it individually, one by one by one, they all mean it. And that, like, when I reflect on that, then that means a hell of a lot.
Yes, yes.
That means such a lot.
Yeah. So thank you, Jason, for that. I want to challenge everybody. I want to challenge you, and maybe you have a challenge for everybody. Instead of doing a meditation, we'll do a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to be gathering with somebody that rubs you the wrong way, I want you to meditate on what you have in common with that person. And I'd like to suggest that you acknowledge that individual for that trait, for that attribute, for that beauty within them. And so find something in common. Find something that's beautiful about the other person, whether you like the way they are dressed, or you like the way they do their hair, or how they groom themselves. It doesn't matter what it is. Acknowledge the other person so that they feel loved by you. Mm-hmm. Can you take that challenge? Would you like to accept that challenge? Who accepts the challenge? Show me. I accept the challenge too. Okay, Jason, would you like?
I could almost extend that a little more and say that if there's any of those tough moments and you're at the dinner table or wherever you are, and you begin to feel it inside that you're about to be triggered, because we usually get those feelings inside where things start contracting and getting tight.
Yes.
I challenge you at those moments to take a step back mentally and just begin to focus on the breath right in that very moment, and watch what happens breathing into that feeling. And quite often it begins to dissipate, and it's not so important after all. Your ego begins to just drop down. Say, okay. So I invite you to take that breath.
Good.
Before reacting.
Sabina accepted the challenge. Thank you, Sabina. Let's see who else will accept the challenge, because we're in control. We are in control. So it's one of those things, Jason, that the moment we are annoyed, we are in our ego.
Yeah.
So taking that breath, knowing that I'm in my ego right now, and I'm taking the breath where I am inhaling my essence and releasing my ego, and inhaling my essence and releasing my ego until I can see that individual again and
perfect.
see some of the beauty.
Beautiful.
Okay. Are we ready? Are we ready to take on the people that poke us in the eye by being mindful?
Let's do it.
I'm ready, Jason. Thank you so much. And thank you. I want all of you to please follow Jason, follow me, follow, share this information, especially if you share it with somebody that you're having a hard time with. Perhaps they'll see themselves in this conversation as well and say, I am in control here. So I want to say thank you. Thank you, Jason. I know you have a heart out, and I want to say goodbye to everybody on Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
And anything that you celebrate, even if it's secular. We'll see you soon. Just celebrate love. Bye.
Bye-bye.